Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, welcome to the YakPom Podcast with your co-hosts, Yakman and GoPom. And we're live.
Yes. On a Saturday with the gang.
Got a special guest above us. We got realSpyShadow. Welcome. Glad to have you, good sir.
Glad you're able to take some time out of your busy mission there, your spy life to spend it with us.
Yeah, of course, for you guys, of course.
Yes, guys, welcome to the YakPom Podcast, hosted by myself, GoPom, and my true blue in real life brother. No longer Nautical Yak. We're still getting used to that name change. Yak Maniac, I believe.
Yakman.
It's Yakman.
Yak Maniac is my Fortnite ID.
And yes.
Because they didn't have Yakman underscore. Silly, epic.
I'm still getting used to it. I'm so used to like all the podcasts we do with the name. And so.
I know, we spent 2.5 years saying Nautical Yak 1945. Like, how do you think I feel? I got that memorized.
We've been saying it since 1945. So, and then you just have the plain, the simple, the original, the best, the realSpyShadow.
Hey guys.
I don't know. I feel like that's a perfect segue for one of my favorite questions. Spy, how did you come up with your name? Some people have a random generator thing. Some people have a long sorted history. Other people have changed their name
as a child
800 times. What's your story?
So I originally, way back when, started off on the Xbox Gold Live profile system, and that was why I have no letters or numbers that are weird in my name. But I came out and said, man, what do I want to be? And I was like, I guess 13 years old or something. I was like, man, when I want to grow up, I want to be like a CIA agent or some sort of awesome spy guy. And so I was like, man, what could match really well with that? Well, SpyShadow. It seemed to make very perfect sense, and so that was my original gamer tag. Still have it to this day. I think 15 years later, haven't changed it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that really is.
Offer to buy my name. They have literally said, "Hey,
really?
do you want to take cut off the SpyShadow and give that to me? I would pay you some money for it." I'm like, no way.
Wow.
Yeah, at this point, that's like a golden Easter egg. No, like I think the longest I've had mine was like 8 years, which isn't bad. I mean, that's still decent, but
that's
man,
really good.
15 years, that's an OG gamer tag right there.
It is. So
the Gold Live service is no less.
Exactly. That's gone too. So
it was relevant like a year ago.
Yeah, exactly. What is it, like Xbox network or something now?
I think it's like Xbox Game Pass now, and then like the bundle. I really don't know. We'll have to look into that at some point.
Yeah,
times are changing.
We can just call them all Update Simulator.
Update Simulator, yeah, the newest of the new, yeah. But ever since then, everything after that has just started to connect to. I made sure I pulled SpyShadow on every single one of my other applications. So usually, if you see me on any type of other service, there's SpyShadow. It's probably me. The only problem and the only wrinkle to all this is the real. Why do I have real in front of my name in Twitch? Well, unfortunately, there is a fake SpyShadow on Twitch. That was the one that I could not get. I originally had been from Mixer, and that's where I am SpyShadow legitimate. And then, the real say their name. But of course, when I switched over to Twitch, apparently somebody had grabbed SpyShadow. So I had to put the real in front. Make everybody know who I was.
That's right. Gotta put your foot down on the table sometimes.
Don't let the imposters take you out. So then what? So you started out on Xbox. Like, did you originally first start out on Mixer, I'm assuming, or how did that whole journey begin? Like, it sounds like you branded and you said you gathered everything on every social media. Like, when did that all start? What led to that?
Really, honestly, I was just really big into gaming by myself. And so that's why the Xbox Live profile gold, that's what I spent most of my time playing, in my younger days. And as I got older, though, and then Mixer popped up out of nowhere. And I got to admit, I was clueless about live streaming and stuff. I watched a few people on YouTube at that point. But as far as Twitch, I had not. Hence, I didn't have the name on Twitch. I was totally didn't pay attention to much of what live streaming was all about. Then Mixer comes along and pops up on my Xbox profile screen. Hey, there's a new streaming service and you can do it directly from your console. And I was like, wait, I don't have to pay any extra money and I can stream my content and connect with other people? Sure, let's do it.
I think that was really cool how Mixer did all that. And in my channel, it's kind of a running joke because myself and GoPom also started over on Mixer. But because of the terrible fashion with which they unfolded, me and my chat, we've made this running joke that we don't talk about the M word.
It is like the M word. I say Mixer and people are like,
yeah, it's a cringe thing right away because
just a bad taste in the mouth.
Yeah, it does. We could talk about all that forever though, so maybe we should move on. We'll have a quick fond memory
though.
I know. As we go and ask questions, you might see me pulling from my wealth of knowledge because I streamed 3 years on Mixer and I'm currently only at like 10 months on Twitch. So again, when you're talking about my journey, most of that will be on the cringe.
No, you're fine.
If you were in the part that it happened, like you must have been there right when it changed from Beam into it, and you were one of the first leading people on there. My other question is, were you an Xbox ambassador at that point? When did that happen?
I was not. So I was not an Xbox master at that point. And it originally came into Beam. It was Beam. And I got in probably a couple months right before they changed to Mixer. So I actually do have that original Beam. They had an original Beam creator tag that I could have on my on my channel, which was really fun. Of course, it's no more because you can't look at it. But I did have that, and so I didn't even know Mixer was going to be a big thing. I had stumbled upon Beam a little bit before that, and then I switched over to Mixer, and that was when integration came in with the Xbox console, and I got really excited. And at that point, I was kind of just watching people. I wasn't even like streaming. I kind of connected to a few people on the site and really enjoyed watching their content. And that's when I first started getting into, wait, there is some live content that I really enjoy watching. And that's how it started. And it wasn't until a couple months later when I was a big part of an actual a Mixer Partners community. And he said, look, you are really great and a really awesome part of my community. You're a mod in my channel. You have all this great experience and this wealth of knowledge. Like, why don't you just start hitting that record button? And I was like, why? Like, what do I have to do? Like, what is everything like that? And he just really pushed me. And hence I started hitting that record button, and I've been addicted ever since.
Nice. Awesome. But it sounds like to me, like you didn't just see Mixer one day and go like, oh, I'm going to start doing this. It was, I'm going to check this out. And you started networking. What do you for beginning streamers who are looking to get involved or in content creation or start streaming? What were you doing? If it was a Mixer partner and they said you're doing a great job, I'm assuming you weren't going in and saying, hey, I'm thinking about streaming myself. Hey, I'm going to be. What were you doing that made those power plays that's allowed you to grow in your community and continue to grow from Mixer to now Twitch?
I think the biggest part is just what you just said, community. A lot of people get into this for specific narrow reasons of I want to start streaming, or I want to gain followers, or I want numbers, or I want this or that, or I want a big dangerous one is I want money, which we could talk about that forever too on how much that is not the case. And I definitely I want to dispel any of those wonderful rumors that kids get so excited. Oh my gosh, I can make so much money for playing video games. And they just run after that. But so it was really just the community. So I got involved in this Mixer Partners community as a viewer, and I spent pretty much every single day in his stream. He streamed every single day, and I was there hanging out, talking, interacting with other folks in his stream. And then he offered me the moderator position. That helped a lot because then I got into a group of mods, because that's kind of a close-knit group. We're all trying to promote his content. And we really became good friends on that. And at that point, it really became this is my community. That's what he was promoting. You should follow all these people. And I was getting my name shouted out all the time. And I'm like, I don't stream. I don't even have a recorded video on Mixer. And he was like, yeah, but one day you will. And I'm like, no, that's not what I want to do. And he's like, well, just in case, here you go, and everything like that. So I got to say, like, it was really, I had about 100 followers before I'd even hit the record button.
Wow.
And everything like that because of just that community building that I did. And that's a really important part, I think.
Wow, that's crazy. Like it's interesting to me that people come in to streaming and they'll do things like jump into other people's chats and be like, "Hey, follow me, come check me out."
Blazing,
and like, I mean, obviously you didn't do that. That's one of those many wrong steps that could be made. But like, you got to know this community, and then someone was like, "Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing this?" And then you started doing it. I find that fascinating, and it's, I don't know, man. It's good stuff.
There's definitely a smart way. Like you can buy growth, you can get growth, but there's ways of doing it naturally and organically that are going to benefit you in the long-term run because you're building true, genuine connections as opposed to buying fabricated numbers. And like honestly, even for Twitch, it's you need like at least 50 followers, 3 concurrent viewers and stuff. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I don't know, you can tell me this or not on the next bit here, but like when you hit go for the first time, and obviously it was new, you didn't know what you were exactly doing, I'm assuming you would have hit all those requirements right out of the get-go without even trying because you had already put yourself out there and people got to know you and trusted you as an individual.
Absolutely. I think that's the most important thing. And here's the reality about it is you can buy viewers now, like you said, and you have literal people running around and follow botting you. Actually, Twitch just instigated where they started figuring out who these follow bots were, and they were cutting people's viewership. And I'll be honest with you, even with my current viewership on Twitch, I think I dropped like 50 people. Like in the last month on Twitch. And I know it's because I didn't even know I might have gotten follow botted by anybody, but apparently there was that inflated numerical view, which means absolutely nothing in the amount in streaming, because it really is all about creating that community and that connection to the people that follow you. So that's what happened. And when I moved over to Twitch, I was able to tell those people that were following me on Mixer and that were actually viewing actively my channel and say, do you want to come and join me over on Twitch? And a few of them dropped off, but I did have enough where they came over and we were able to get it within the first week on Twitch.
Yeah, I was so amazed with the Mixer community, the way everybody
the support,
the way everybody banded together, like all of a sudden it was like everybody put all their like swords and shields down, and they were like, let's hold hands and kumbaya, we're gonna stick together. And like some people have dropped off, but like the overwhelming exodus from the emptying platform drained so heavily into Twitch. And I think it's funny how Mixer was like, yeah, we're done, but we've got this cool friend next door named Facebook Gaming, and everyone's like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody.
I jumped on that where they did offer like at that point
there was a lot
people
of
that were partners, and at that point I was part of their like affiliate Ember program, because that was like getting somewhat like if Mixer had been more successful.
We were all on it.
We had just gotten it too. Yeah, I know.
And they were like, we'll give you like all this money, like, or you'll be able to get like whatever Facebook has, like, where they stars or something now over there. And I applied for it and I received nothing back for a week or two. And that's all I needed. I was like, I am not going to work through a customer service type thing and this big disconjointed
Facebook, no less. I'm just.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, I'm done. I'm out of here. And so I pulled the ripcord fast and we went to Twitch, and I'm really glad that I did it. I'm really glad.
Yeah, no, I'm glad as well. Like, cause it was crazy when all that stuff happened. Just like, cause a lot of partners, a lot of those who were going for full-time streaming, that was their livelihood, that was their job. And then all of a sudden, carpet's pulled off from your feet. What do? And those who had, I feel for those, a lot of those have come back. Some of them are still struggling. Some are still going. We still support it. We still love you. If you ever want to talk about your story, feel free to DM me on Twitter or the Yak Man. We'd love to hear your story and help share your community as well. But genuinely, I was like so glad and so excited to see like you were still going, Yak was still going, because like we debate, like I don't even think, I know for a lot of others it was like, well, I'm just done streaming, whereas Yak and I were like, no, we want to keep going. We're going to keep the party going. It sucks. It sucked the first few days. I won't deny that, but
I mean, to be honest, it wasn't. So for us, Spy, we had a very interesting timeline with this because on June 20th, we decided we were going to follow our content team leader over to Twitch. June 22nd, Monday morning, Mixer drops the breakup tweet. So like we literally planned to move to Twitch like 36 hours or whatever it was before Mixer decided to crash. You know, so like I was still kind of mad about it because I was like, how Mixer going to do everybody like this? But like secretly, I'd already had my Twitch profile set up for 9 months. Like, you know,
that's good. You were prepared.
Yes, we were both. I mean, we both poured, 98% of our efforts into Mixer. We were doing good things over there. We were figuring some things out, getting some things done. But ultimately, we knew statistically we were riding the wave of the underdog, and at any moment the ship could sink. And boy, am I glad we kept that mentality, because something like that would have very easily devastated a guy like me from continuing to stream. Honestly,
I know.
If I had been locked in 1,000% and not even considered anything else, I don't think I'd still be streaming today.
Well, you bring up an excellent point, and I think it's good for any new streamers or new people that are trying to get into something like this, is that's where this whole thing of like not putting all your eggs in one basket is really important.
Yes.
And it's not just on platforms, it's on every social media application that you have. It's on even the amount of streams you're watching. Look, I've seen a lot of people get burnt out because they're like, I watched this content creator 300 hours the last year, and I have gotten zero traction out of it, and I don't feel connected to this community. And my encouragement is to that, why are you taking the 300 hours that you're watching this one creator, and if it's not panning out, spread it out. Like, there's other great creators. That's why I tell people that are even watching me, look, shout out this person, go watch them. Look, sometimes my weekly schedule gets so crazy that I have to cancel my streams. Who else are you going to watch? You got to go watch somebody else. There's a community aspect of this. So I think it's important to encourage people to like spread yourself out there. Don't spread yourself too thin. Then you become shallow, right? And then your roots aren't grabbing. Yes. But definitely pull out a few content creators, pull out a few social media connections that you have, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, there's Discord, etc. And make sure you promote yourself out there if you really do want to do this, if this is your passion, because we really want that.
Yeah, like Spartan here. Spartan, thank you so much for the host. Welcome. I know you said you're going to be here. Glad to see you.
Hey, Spartan.
But I think go ahead, bro.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I feel like I was really good about that on Mixer, and maybe, I don't know, things have just been crazy for me with life recently, so I feel like maybe I've fallen off a little bit on Twitch, but I used to make a point out of finding one or two new streamers a week.
Yeah.
And I think I need to get back to that, because that has helped me meet other people. It's helped me get ideas, obviously as a beginning streamer, you don't want to outright copy somebody else, right?
Okay. I just want to clarify.
You can find inspiration.
Imitation and inspiration are two entirely different things. You want to be inspired. You don't want to be a copycat. Know the difference.
For instance, I love Dr. Disrespect show. I'm not sitting here in a shitty mullet to do it. To do my stream, okay? Like, so, like, strive for the production value.
Back there?
Under the hat.
My mohawk is getting long. It might double qualify. Got to be careful. But I'm not throwing on the red vest and a fake mustache and pulling out my little flip knife comb, and it's just. But I strive to do production things that people really enjoy. So, that's part of learning as you're becoming a new streamer, and it's tough, man. It's tough. I feel like over here on Twitch, it's almost a little more like high school. Thank you, hanging with the D for the raid, my guy. Hope you're having a good weekend. But yeah, so it just, shoot, what was I talking about?
I was going to say, you were talking about community finding one more streamer.
Yes.
I was just gonna
old man syndrome. My bad.
I was going to pony up on that and saying, like, that was one thing you did when I was driving in the middle of nowhere for back on my route North Dakota. Like, I didn't have time to meet anybody. Like, the Yak Man was always there finding new people, find new content creators. That was how we got connected on the stream team. And then when I got back, I would find people and connect him, and that's how I found you as well.
Yeah.
Which I think that's another thing, too, that's super crucial, is finding like-minded people you enjoy. And once you get to know them, you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so would love you. You guys need to like meet and connect. And that's what we're doing now. And I think that's something you've been doing a lot of too, Spy, is you're trying to build a community of like-minded inclusivity, positive agents for change, which I think is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I think that I counted Illumination a while back where I was just like, the amount of people that I surround myself with is important. And you can pick different sections of this Twitch, which I think, again, Yak was mentioning like high school. Like you can pick the groups that you can be a part of.
That's
and honestly, like, and it's okay. Like I'm like very honest on my streams, and I'm like, look, if you like toxic people, that's cool. There is a great amount of toxic people out there. You can go watch their streams. You can get all riled up with them and have a great time. But I don't like that. And I prefer to be part of the positive, inclusive type community where I like to surround myself with people that just enjoy gaming, very peaceful. And then we can get crazy sometimes. I admit I'm crazy on my stream, but it's a good crazy. And and so part of that is really surrounding yourself with that. And that's what's so important. That's what I've been doing. That's how I've met these guys. And I've met some amazing people like Spartan that, YakPom mentioned. But it's been a great experience.
Yeah, I think where I was going with that whole kind of high school cliquey thing is it's like it's important to get out and try to network, but also be aware there are some groups that are, I don't want to say they're closed off, but it's like, you got to use your judgment. You can go into a chat and you can tell if everyone's just like too busy to be bothered with you, right?
Yeah.
But when you get into that chat where like it's just popping off and people are talking to you and including you, like, I don't know, that's the kind of community I strive for. And that's the kind of community I like hanging out in, like you say, there's trolley communities out there, and there's positive ones, and there, there's all kinds of stuff. So just keep your eye open and network with people who are doing things that you want to do.
Yep, absolutely. And I think balance is like a really key word too with that, because
that's a great point.
It's very tempting to be like, I walked into this channel and I'm not being paid much attention to. And I think that it's very cliquey and closed off to me. Well, I've had people actually come in and say that in my channel, and I've been like, look, I got to admit to you, I haven't seen you the last 3 or 4 days. Like I stream every day almost during the week, except for like 2 days. So if I start to notice who shows up consistently, and it's just easier. So I would definitely encourage you, which is why some people that are new are like, I don't know how to get involved. And I'm like, well, do you actually spend time in the community more than like an hour? And a lot of times people can't answer that question because they really want that quick, like, connection, follow for follow, connect, get involved.
They want the payoff for as little amount of work as possible, unfortunately.
Exactly. And so I've had to really push people and be like, look, it's not that it's cliquey, it's that you just need to put in a little bit of effort. And trust me, if you find the right place, it will definitely pay off. There are places it won't pay off. I will warn you on that too. But if you find the right community, it will definitely pay off just showing up consistently for a little bit.
Absolutely.
I was in Ninja streams for like 6 hours and he wouldn't even notice me. I just can't figure out why. I just don't know. Like 6 hours, you think the guy would notice me for that one day, that one stream, like,
yeah, you think so, right?
I'd be realistic. Yeah, Spartan, 50% stream, 50% networking. Yeah, I think there's a balance. We've talked about like burnout, and like even Lekka's talked about looking at stream teams. And I think that's something, I think Yak and I were very fortunate that we had each other. Whereas I feel for a lot of individuals starting out, we were able to talk, bounce ideas off each other, and like we both had our different views and stuff, and it was super beneficial and super good. And so whenever, like, for me, unfortunately, whenever I'm like, oh yeah, you can do streaming, you can do all this for people starting out, I don't remember I had the Yak. And so I try to remember to be that for other individuals as well when starting out, is yes, if you truly want to get involved in the community and you truly want to be a part of it, you're going to have to put in the time. You're going to have to put in the effort. Yak and I have a special connection because we're brothers. I can't do that for you. Like, scientifically, it doesn't work that way. But would love to hang out, get to know you more. Like, stop by the Discord, stop by the Twitter, like hit people up outside of stream. Yes. And I think that's where people refuse to look, is they want to be there when it's gaming and stuff. Yep. And they don't take the time to be like, hey, happy Friday or Taco Tuesday or something, and just like talk and have a conversation. And I think that's where the more community building and like intimacy comes together, honestly.
Yeah, for
outside of stream.
I've been trying with my Discord, and I have a hard time getting people to communicate in there a little bit, but
I think we've all been there.
It's content creators. It's very difficult to get people to communicate, and that's why it just takes a really like that consistent open door policy is huge, because I might say my DMs are open all the time, but I won't get that many hits. But I'll tell you what, there'll be one out of like once a month. I'll get a hit from somebody on a DM, and I'll be like, I'm so glad I was able to talk to that person. Like, it's important to do that.
Well, and I think awesome. That's just it right there. Is I feel quite often this is just part of the streamer mentality and part of the industry is, yes, the focus isn't numbers, but numbers do matter. But behind those numbers, there's people. And we're always constantly wanting to be there for them, but obviously we can't. And so I think it's just setting yourself that goal of like, I am available if I ever need to be, because not everybody needs that all the time. I feel like, especially with being a mental health advocate, I was under the superhero, got to save everybody, and you will burn yourself out so fast. Be kind to yourself, be thoughtful, and set those limits of, if you can help one person once a day, or if you can make one person's day in a day, then you've done it. And as long as you have fun and you feel good and they feel good, I mean, it's a win-win. Don't beat yourself up over it. If you're like, man, if I only had done just one more person, like we did a charity stream, we raised this money, we could have raised more. Like, boo, get over it. You did a good job. Stop beating yourself up. Like,
yeah, exactly. I always say, if I can make one person happy per stream, then that's all that matters. That's all that matters, because I just love doing that and sharing that with people.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the best piece of advice I ever heard, and that was from my best friend's dad. He was top salesman in the state of Wisconsin multiple years running, and people would always ask him, what's your secret? How are you the top salesman in the state of Wisconsin, let alone for hydraulic fittings? Like, who wants those? Nobody, right? Like,
I don't wear them.
How are you the top salesman? Right. Well, he would get the military contracts through Oshkosh Truck, so it was a pretty good gig with the company he was at, but he would always tell people just one at a time. And that's something I've tried to embody as I started streaming, because when you're starting out, you're in that dreaming stage a little bit. You're thinking, how far can I go? I can have all these cool people always want to talk to me and stuff. And but you have to realize you're not numbers. They're not donations or subscribers. They're people. It's one person at a time, and building that community one person at a time, getting to know one person at a time. I've made connections on here that I don't think I'll ever get rid of, which is awesome. I've made some great friendships. But try to make sure you treat every single person exactly as they are. Someone special. There's someone different. There's someone who's wanting to connect. They just need that. They just need that person to make that perfect effort to say, hey, come on in, man.
Yes,
join the pool party.
Samples. We have free samples for cookies.
We got cookies.
We got cookies. Someone said that right when I joined Twitch. Like, I met one of my good friends, and he was like, and he's still to this day like his quote is on my channel. He like pulls his own quote up. But since the first day of Twitch, he like comes in, he's like, welcome, we have better cookies. And I was like,
nice. I like
it. True. No, but
man. What would you say for you? Don't mean to cut you off, but I was just going to say, what would you say for you has probably been like the biggest struggle when it comes to streaming? Because I know you've got a family, you've got a lot going on. You're on vacation right now, and yet you're taking time to do this. What has been your biggest struggle in like creating content and being consistent and just whether it's personal or streamer life?
Oh man, that's good. That's a good question. I think I have like a whole bunch like meshed into one because everything's connected. That's the whole point. I like how you said that. Like you have a personal life, you have a family, you stream. It revolves. I mean, time is like a big thing. We all have only a certain limited amount of time. I wish I had more than 24 hours in a day. But if you guys figured that out, let me know. Somebody let me know how to do that. But
bang energy.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Hang out with your in-laws. Every moment will be longer than necessary.
That's true. I hope they never listen to this. Okay,
Just kidding. I love my family.
Yeah, they're great. But I gotta say that the biggest thing would be I've had to accept being honesty with everything going on. So a lot of times I was struggling a lot with when I first started out, like. I had my streamer life, SpyShadow, and then my personal life with my wife and my family and what was going on. And I wouldn't share both together. So I would text, and if something happened in my personal life, I would just text everybody and be like, sorry, stream's canceled tonight. And that's like all they would hear. And then they wouldn't hear from me for like 2 days. And then I'd be back in like, welcome back. I'm so glad I'm back. And vice versa, if I had like anything going on stream wise, like this podcast scheduled out, I would never tell my wife. And then I'd just be like, hey, it's, it's 3:00, got to go, and everything like that. And that really caused a lot of like strain because they didn't understand both sides of that. And so I have to encourage anybody who's like trying to juggle that to be like open and honest with both sides. So I've had to learn to actually tell my stream, okay, I'm sorry that this week I'm gone because my grandfather died, and stuff like that. And I have to go do this. And I do apologize. And I understand that it's inconvenient for you guys and be honest with that. And vice versa. I've had to, kind of bring in my wife more. My wife's been the big part of that, where I've had to show her I'm not just playing video games, because that was a big thing. She was like, I mean, okay, you're playing video games. Like, it's a fun hobby. Why are you doing it this many hours a day, or this many hours a week? And I had to start explaining to her, I have kids that come into my stream that look up to me as a role model. I've had, I'm very active in the community. I'm doing charity events. And so she had to kind of realize it was more important than just sitting there playing video games. And so that really changed everything. And then off of that comes, I think my second piece of advice is really, there's a time and place for everything. Everything has a season. And this goes back to numbers. Look, we all wish that we could have this climbing mountain of numbers and that we start off down here and then the nice little parabola goes up and it just keeps going as it goes. But the truth is, honestly, everybody is in different seasons. Look, I get different viewerships and different numbers based off of whether it's finals week during a school semester, whether it's a different type of COVID, different things happen because of that. And you just have to understand, people that were best friends that stayed in my channel all the time, just all of a sudden have had to message me and say, I can't be in there anymore because I lost my job or I've had to do something like this. And you just have to accept the fact that you're going to have your ups and downs in streaming and be okay, because trust me, the minute that your numbers or whatever you're measuring yourself with starts to dip, you have this big temptation to be like, I must be doing something wrong. There must be something happened. I did something. I must have tipped over.
The self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, I did something dumb or something, or I'm not good enough, or I need to be better, and I need to buy like another $200 TV screen, or get a mullet. Yeah, or get a mullet and copy this person. And seriously, that's okay. You just have to accept the fact that, okay, this week was a bust, maybe it was a little bit lower than usual. Maybe it was a little bit harder, and there's a different season for every time. And it doesn't mean the next week's going to be any worse. It could be super better, because I've been there. Been like 1 week, I'm like, what's going on? And then the next week it's like skyrockets.
20 people. And
I'm unsubscribing. You like left Twix. I'm out of here.
Yeah. actually, I prefer right Twix myself. Because I feel it's the right choice to make it just logically. But I think that's exactly it. It's the right choice. Yeah. See, right choice. Thank you very much. Okay. What I'm trying to say is, I think for a lot of people, it's okay to be human. It's okay to admit you're not a perfect streamer, because I feel there's this mentality, I'm a viewer, and then the streamer's up here. But in reality, they just have to go to the bathroom. They use toilet paper like everybody else. They have bad days. They have a life as well, and it's really just here. And it just so happens this is your perspective, and it needs to be here.
Yeah.
And you're both human, and that should be the bridge that like builds the connection. Is just realizing that, because I think we've all done that. We've had. I remember when Yak introduced me to Rebel Dusty Pinky, I was just like, oh my gosh, like he's a mixer partner and all this other stuff. And I was like, he's just a normal guy like everybody else. But I had to like change my perspective and focus. And now he's a really good friend. And he's an amazing part of the community and that we're both a part of. And I think, as you said, just knowing that and being aware of that and just being honest with yourself and being honest with those around you, because that is definitely a very hard sell.
It is.
Yeah, that's
because you want to be fake. Like it almost like tempts you, honestly. And then the whole industry likes to do that. They like to throw the wool over your eyes and say, "Here, this is going to be really amazing." And if you are feeling bad, you better not show it because you're going to lose this amount of attraction.
Meanwhile, me on Twitter got triggered. Stream is canceled. See you later. Like,
it's true.
Yeah, it's
I people don't interact, or people are just like, oh, it's fake or it's not. And I'm like, no. I genuinely go to therapy. I have documentation that says I struggle with this, but you know what?
Okay.
Maybe we really aren't friends, and that's not for you, and you don't understand it, and that's totally, as you said, that's totally okay. And I still sleep good at night.
It's good.
Yeah, it's definitely a ride though. That's something GoPom and I have talked about a lot. Is the numbers, like you say, because when you're starting out, those numbers, they don't change a whole lot for most of us right off the bat, but those little changes are still a really big deal, right? You get those 3 followers and you're like, holy crap, this is awesome. I'm at 151 followers now. And then you lose 2 and you're like, it's a huge hit. You know what I mean? So like something, and this is something GoPom and I ran into, because back on Mixer, we had some good stuff going with Fortnite where we were getting big community days going on Sundays.
Those were the
and
I was too.
It was awesome. And it was so much fun. And then things started slowing down because Mixer was starting to sputter to a crawl, And
they got ninja,
then, and while we were on this rise, 30, 40, 50 new followers a stream, I was marking it all out, keeping track, doing stats, because I was doing a lot of stat tracking when I started to try to gauge what I was doing right and wrong.
Yep.
And while that can be a useful tool, I think I ran into something that a lot of us can easily fall into, and that's focusing too much on the numbers. So when things started going down, so did my confidence, so did my persona. Like everything was just kind of down because like I'm doing something wrong, but what is it? And it wasn't that I was doing something wrong. I think it's just kind of the natural ebb and flow of streaming. We're not all ninja getting 20,000 a month, and we got to look at it in perspective. We're just people, and things change constantly. And for me, I really let go of paying attention to those numbers this year in particular, 2020 in particular with COVID, because everyone all of a sudden had a free schedule and was jumping online, and then people were going back to work and disappearing. And it was like, life is chaos right now. You can use the numbers a little bit, but don't put a lot of weight on them, because, we're still on the tail end of whatever this is supposed to be.
Well, I mean, hey, that was my whole thing. Is I was like, it was okay for me to move back home, take a month off, and get a job, but it was not okay for everybody else. Like, you need to be at my streams. Like, no. I honestly, that's. I mean, that's what I tell people. Like, hey, Pom, I'm sorry I haven't been around. Or I'm like, are you okay? Are you doing better?
Yes, that's
you just started counseling or something. I'm so happy for you. That's awesome. You're struggling. Like, you need to have a talk or conversation. Like, I would rather sit and listen to somebody talk or vent out if they need to than just be like, oh my gosh, you weren't in stream. You were always like, I can't do that either. I don't expect you to do what I can't do. We're all human, but like, I appreciate that this stream has meant that much to you. Like that does me good that you're still back here, and I'm glad to hear you're doing all right. Like that, honestly, for me, I think I can speak for all of us in the sense when we see someone who hasn't been showing up for months and they come back, it's just like, it's like when you find, it's like
just
if you were missing a dog or something and it comes home.
It's just good to see your friends again. Yeah. Well, I think it's important too as content creators, like, and I'll be the first to echo this, that like, the amount of thankfulness that we need to have for the people that do show up is like really important. Like I think it's huge. And we're not talking about thankfulness based off of how much hours you've watched or whether you've donated a certain amount of money or something like that. Like that's all good and fun and everything like that. But like just the fact that you particularly had decided to show up and watch the stream and support the content, it's just super. We should always be appreciative of that. If we're ever not being appreciative of that, if the content creators ever not being appreciative of that, I really recommend that you don't stick around. I mean, I hate to say it, but like you have got to get to a place where you are confident in your own self that like you as a viewer matter and are super important. So don't go around. It's like, we wouldn't do that with any other bullies, right? I mean, we wouldn't do that in real life. You're not going to walk up to somebody who's putting y'all down and say, well, I'm going to spend time with this person personally. No, we say that we don't want to be friends with them. So I think the same is deserved on Twitch as well. And honestly, if people start getting called out on that type of entitlement, I think you would see a lot more people on Twitch understand that they need to be more humble and more respectful to the viewers that are out there.
Yes.
I think some people see some clips of, you know, Ninja or Summit, and they think it really is as easy as just turning on a video game and playing. I think a lot of that is just kind of general education for the public. The public is kind of uneducated in a mass sense of, you know, we currently have talk show hosts starting to bash streaming and stuff like that. So because people don't understand, you know, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when YakPom was trying to talk me into this, I was in that mentality.
Kicking and streaming, not cooking
you did.
And streaming.
That
would have been great, though.
Oh, I did some cooking, if you can't tell. But no, it's just like, because we grew up on a Wisconsin dairy farm. You earn every meal. You break your back working, or you don't eat supper. And so I came from this mentality of every streamer is just some pothead who doesn't want a 9 to 5. You know, that was my honest to God mentality.
Yeah,
and just super entitled.
My brother started
given everything,
talking me into it. So then I started looking at the production value and what the big guys were doing, and then I started getting into streaming and actually watching streams and going into chats, and I found that community aspect that you don't realize. You hear streaming, you're like, oh, it's just some idiot watching another idiot button mash. Like, who cares? But
welcome to sports.
A good stream community is so much more than that. It's a true network of friends, and
family.
It really is. And I wish I could get that message to everybody, but there's always going to be, you know, those moms, those grandpas. There's always going to be those people that just, your coworker that just doesn't understand and doesn't want to understand.
Hey,
I personally, I look back and I'm glad my brother was grabbing me by the hooves and hog tying me and trying to drag me into it, because I've gotten so much out of streaming that I never foresaw, as far as friendships, and you know, people to communicate with, and it's crazy. Like you should. There's so many blessings from streaming. I can't even count them all. It's just ridiculous.
Why, I think that recently the whole generational thing has been super important, because we are getting to the point where we're, as adults, I'm about to have a baby girl, so in June.
Oh,
so
congrats!
I'm thinking like father brain is like on point right now, and I'm just like, how much do I want to show her the good part of this? Because here's the thing, and I started way back in Mixer, that I was realizing that a lot of kids, because it was a younger crowd because of Xbox, was getting ostracized and pushed away from being into channels and being viewership, because they're a little immature. We all admit it, you know, when we were that young, and you don't understand how to act, and all they have to look up for is someone like Ninja. I'm not saying anything against Ninja, but I'm just saying, when you look at those streamers and you're like, this is how I want to embody, and you're this like little punk 12-year-old kid, it's like you're kind of getting all the bad habits out of it. You're getting all the bad habits out of it. And so we, as generational gamers, need to make sure that we spend the time to train these kids and not push them away when they come into our chat, and be like, it's okay to have that type of attitude. It's okay to be a little crazy. It's okay to be toxic and everything like that. But it's all needs to be done like in a certain amount of control.
Yes.
And if we do that, if we encourage them, and we actually reach out to them and say, I do want to play video games with you. I do want you to come into my channel and talk to you, everything like that. Then I think we're going to start seeing that generation thing, like you said, Yak, that like, okay, not the next generation isn't going to look at gaming as like, well, this is just a bunch of bratty kids. No, it's actually mature people that are real people with honest opinions and a real sense of community.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
and you never know who's watching. Like, you could have a parent stop in or listen. I remember one time I was going into some rant or tirade, and someone was like, "Hey, this is so and so's mom. I really appreciate what you're saying." And because I was talking about being bullied,
thanks, mom,
and the different things going on, and like how I dealt with it, and how I wish it was, and here's what I wish I knew, and here's why you should listen to your parents. And I was like,
"Oh, nice."
Like, not that I would ever say anything super bad or like what have you, but I was like, I'm glad that like I did. And instead of their parents like bullying, I'm like, my mom's super happy that I'm watching you. Like, and I was just like, that's awesome. And I'm glad. Yeah, children don't make you grow up; they bring out the kid in you even more.
They do. That's for sure.
Choosy moms choose GoPom.
Oh my gosh!
Start a website. Moms for Pom.
Oh man.
Oh no, I don't. Do not look that up. Do not look that up. I don't know what you're gonna find if you do. But if it's safe and it's okay, let me know. But still, you know, I
Oh man.
I'm just shutting up. All right.
Okay. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Hashtag moms for Pom. Oh no.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
What I'm trying to say is I think, yes, as you said, it's important. We need to educate the next generation. Mm-hmm. And I think it is okay to, like, for kids, especially kids, we have a lot of kids that'll come in and ask for like advice on streaming and stuff. And their parents will say different things. And I was like, you got to tell them, like, it's literally like playing friends, like sitting down at the dinner table with your family and your grandparents, stuff at Christmas time, and you're all excited and you're playing with toys. That's the equivalent to level of community and communication that you get when you're streaming.
Yes.
And if you can communicate parents like, oh my gosh, it's like on Christmas morning when you're doing this, or we're sitting down for a family meal and everybody's having a great time and you're working together. I was like, if you can communicate that, they will have a better understanding because it's something they can relate to. And more than likely, hopefully they'll encourage you as long as you're finding the right community. But that's why I recommend listening to the podcast, why you listen to people like realSpyShadow, why you listen to the YakMan and everybody else here. Yeah, define safe. Exactly. Like, because I mean, internet's a crazy place. You want to surround yourself with people that are looking out for your best interest.
Absolutely.
So here's an interesting question I have off this conversation, because I think we're all in agreement that there's a certain level of not necessarily responsibility, but as generational gamers, as you said, Spy, we should be trying to look to the next generation and try to teach them what we know and how to maybe do it better. Yeah. My question is, I don't know if you've seen in the news lately, Shadow, or you go, Pom, but a few weeks ago, Ninja took some really heavy heat because he was clipped kind of out of context, saying that it wasn't his job to raise everyone else's children, was the gist of the message.
Yes. I do remember that.
Do you agree with that at his level of the game? Because he's putting up with hundreds or thousands of trolls a day, right? So I don't know, dude.
I think you're talking about almost a level of accountability. Should streamers be held accountable to knowing their audience and acting a certain way or a certain level of maturity in the context of knowing that? And I think that, like, for us starting out small, I feel like it's easier on an individual basis to address those situations, whereas him being at such a high level, I feel like there is definitely a high stress level. There is definitely a lot less intentionality for him because of everything else going on. I mean, if you've seen clips and things, not that I can speak for him or what have you, because I've never dealt with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And not to talk Will, I'm not trying to bait you into saying anything like against another partner or anything like that.
No.
But it just
examples.
I felt like that was a good branch off from our conversation, because here we've got a superstar, like basically the poster boy, and he's kind of at a frustration level where he's almost like, F it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I think that it's the whole goes back to be like being a part of the change. And I've said this with a lot of different people that like I think individually one of us cannot stand up, even though Ninja is as big as he is, even he can't stand up and be like, this is how all Twitch partners and streamers are supposed to interact with kids and everything that goes on. And that's why I don't like to pick like sides when it comes to like, I honestly have some people that I go watch their stream and they're super toxic in it. And I go in there and I actually mold myself to that community. I might go in there, I support them, I respect them. And maybe it's a little bit more mature, M-rated, and then that kind of adapts that way. I think it's just up to us as streamers to be the good example where we're at. So if you decide you want mature content and that's who you want to sell your entire thing to, that's perfectly fine. Like, take it and run with it. But then don't try to like get yourself into all of this, like Fortnite fashion shows if you're like into all that mature content. Like pick and choose where you're going to be. So where I think Ninja is like it's difficult for him is he's chosen, and I think he's moved away from Fortnite probably because of this. That he was in a very society where there was a lot of young folks, and he was starting to get called out that if you're going to play that type of content and you're going to encourage that type of and you're going to be that part to that generation, you probably do need to start acting a little bit better. I mean, it's just who it is. It's just how it is. And I know he was frustrated by that, and again, he can say whatever he wants, and that's perfectly fine. And I think that he definitely had some frustration. I don't want to get too personal on this.
Job I can't.
I think there is a saying, like, personally, to like call out parents in general. And I know I might be getting in trouble by saying this, but in general, that like you are responsible for your kids. So don't blame me for the fact that your kid picked up this bad example from me if you're not actually teaching them the right way and how to discern that and everyththing. But all that being said, I think that we, if I open up and I hit that like button, I am required to behave myself accordingly on Twitch and for the majority of people that will be watching me. And that's, and we're getting into a whole lot of other things where Twitch is now getting on, on these hot tub streams and whatever's going on, and they're getting questioned. It's like, it's like, what are we doing? What are you promoting at this point? Are you being a generally good person to the majority of people that you're promoting your Twitch channel to? I don't know.
Yeah.
No, that's honestly, fair.
I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I think it just comes down to accountability to ourselves and who we are as people and how we can sleep good at night. Because honestly, to the rest of the world and Twitch, it comes down to the Twitch guidelines. And if you are abiding and following them, honestly, they don't have a problem. And I think everybody has their own different level of morals. And for me personally, what might be uncomfortable for me may be comfortable for something else and vice versa.
Absolutely.
And so I think it's, and Yak has said this before, it's learning to let live. Like if you're not really harming anyone, you do you. But at the end of the day, I always tell people this too, especially when it comes to situations similar to this, or even like especially politics and stuff, is okay, in light of this big thing and this big thing, how can we come together to make things better? What can we do right now to make this better? How can we either solve this problem or build a deeper community? And you'll always hear me say this, you can look back at all my content. How can we use this to bring ourselves together and make ourselves stronger? If it's going to diversify us or what have you, maybe that's what needs to happen. If it's not,
Well, diversity is okay. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's amazing. And the fact that Twitch is such a huge platform that allows so many different things is amazing, because I can choose what I think. Because again, I have to admit, not every day do I want to watch the same content. All right, you're right. I mean, maybe on a weekend I'm partying it up and I'm going a little crazy. I might kind of want more of a mature content, and that's why
you don't want to watch Jack and I just 24 in the hole.
You guys are great, but like, there's some other crazy content as well out there that I love to watch, and I think it's very unique. And so I'm so glad that Twitch can do it. And I say this on my stream all the time. I mean, where else can you literally hit that live button and you can talk to people across the world? I mean, that's amazing. You get to talk to people. I mean, I have a person that comes in consistently, and they're always in the next day. They're always in the next day over in New Zealand.
Asking the lotto numbers.
And they're like, I'm like Sunday night, I'm like hanging out at home, and I'm asking her like, hey, how's school today? Because she's literally on her like lunch break.
Oh my gosh.
At school on Monday. And I'm like, so how was your weekend? But like, how was school today? And it's like, where else do you get to like talk to people that are like different places than you, different cultures, and just enjoy that type of uniqueness that really Twitch gives you.
That's cool. It's amazing. That's been one of my favorite things. I've met people from Australia, Japan, Russia,
Africa,
Germany, South Africa, South America, Canada.
Wisconsin.
I can't believe how many people from UK end up in my stream.
God.
Like half of my stream are British people from across the pond, and I love every one of you bitches.
so sweet. And they're always like, sorry, I joined in. Like it's I got to go to bed like in a half hour. It's like 12:30 a.m. And I'm like, oh, go. I'm like, please. I know about sleep and everything. That's horrible. Like, you go to bed. Seriously. Thank you for coming in.
Minnesota, yes.
Minnesota. Okay, so I got one final question to help me determine if you're a serial killer or not. How do you eat your Oreos?
How do I eat my Oreos?
Yes, and answer carefully. Answer carefully. No, I'm kidding.
Concerned. I'm just going to say it right now.
I thought you said, how do you heat your Oreos? And I was like,
eat.
Okay.
The microwave, the air fryer, you put it out in the sun and watch
grill?
it burn.
I mean, maybe somebody wants to grill.
Elon Musk flamethrower.
Deep fried Oreos actually are the bomb.
They are really good. Okay, how do I eat my Oreos?
Yes.
So I only buy double stuff, first of all. So
yes, my man!
Talk to me of that. Don't even come at me with that normal stuff. Okay. And then second of all, I throw the whole cookie in my mouth. Like, there ain't no biting it. There ain't no doing any like licky lick or anything like that. Dude, that whole cookie's going in my mouth and it's going down my throat faster, so I can go to the next one. So I can get to the next cookie faster. That's how I eat my Oreos.
You just consume a sleeve of Oreos. Like, I remember people were
like, there ain't no tomorrow.
Like, sleeve, like.
Sounds so manly.
1 or 2 and save it for like the weekend. Like, what is wrong with you? Like
when they came out with the sealed package where you could pull the front part of the package up, I was like, what is the point of this? Like, nothing's going to be sealed in there to stay because I'm eating the whole package by itself anyway.
1 gallon of milk, like that's a deal. Like, I think it's for like what, $2 for $5. Like $2 for $5, you got like 1 gallon of milk and one like pack of Oreos at Quick Trip, and you just.
Oh man, milk and Oreo is good. Oh, good combination.
Just so we know we can trust each other. Double stuff, dunked in milk, then ate. Yep.
Okay, I like that. See,
so we can trust each other. We've bonded.
I trust you guys now. Okay, that's good. I was about to say, have you ever had somebody be like, I don't eat Oreo cookies? I have to
unfollow and like actively speak out against because it's just not right.
Oh man,
unless you're like lactose intolerant or something, then okay. But they've now made like I think they made vegan Oreos and stuff too. I don't know.
I didn't even know you could do that. Wow.
Yeah, the more you know. realSpyShadow, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being
absolutely
awesome,
it's been fun.
Thanks for having me, guys.
One more thing. What is the number one piece of advice you would give to a new streamer starting out? The number one piece of advice that you wish they would know?
Get involved in the community and stay involved in the community. It's super important. Again, we just talked this whole hour on like, it's people, right? It's people. It's not numbers. So I'm a person, right? And you're a person. So if you want to interact with me, interact like a person. Text me, talk to me, be in the stream, hanging out in the chat. Talk about whatever happened to you yesterday, whether if you want to share some personal experience or whether you want to talk about gaming. Just be a part of the community.
Gaming, yeah. Exactly. Thank you so much. And where can everybody find you?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitch, realSpyShadow. I stream every day except for Tuesday and Thursday, and we start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you guys are on Central 6, right? On Central time.
Yes.
But so that's where you can find me. My schedule gets posted every Sunday night on my Twitter account, which is realSpyShadow as well. So that's how you can connect with me on social. My DMs are always open on my Twitter account and my Discord. Which I know it's always funky to like join my Discord. You just have to follow the link in my Twitter.
Socials down below. Socials in the description.
Socials will be attached to the podcast as well. And if you have any questions for any content creators, please drop it either via DMs to @GoPom or @NYak1945 or YakMan on Twitter. We'll include the link there. But or hashtag YakPom, and we will answer your questions live on stream. Also, give us a review on Apple and Spotify. Helps us get the podcast out there to more people for your ears, and on the YouTube channel for your eyes as well to enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and have a great vacation.
Thank you. See you guys.
Have a good one. See you later.
I was like, wait, what? What did you say?
What, with my Oreo question?
Yeah, I was just saying.
Well, I thought of that earlier this morning, and I'm like, what would be like just a fun, stupid question I could just ask